Hi, welcome everyone. I think we'll give it a minute or two for the participants to arrive. And meanwhile, I'd like to request you to please make sure that you have a stable internet connection, and also please do put your names on the chat along with the organization and probably where you're joining from and how you contribute to the sector and what's your superpower in the WASH sector. All right, I see that all participants have been let in. Probably there'll be more participants joining soon. Meanwhile, I think we can go ahead and start. So a very good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. And welcome to the 9th webinar of the Sanitation Data Systems Tool Series. And today we'll be looking at the Water Utilities Information System, MajIS, from EWURA, the regulatory authority in Tanzania. This year promises to be an exciting one as we continue to explore and strengthen data systems and in the WASH sector. We at GWOPA are proud to partner once again with Dev-Afrique development advisors and the Eastern and Southern African Water and Sanitation Regulators Association, ESAWAS, to deliver this webinar series. Our goal remains to support local actors, governments, research institutes, regulators, development partners, donors, and all players in the WASH sector to enhance the WASH data systems across Africa and South Asia. So with this, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is 𝗪𝗁𝗁𝗁 and I work as the Program Officer at Global Water Operator Partnerships Alliance within UN Habitat. And once again, a very warm welcome to everyone. Now let's proceed to the agenda of today's webinar. So what we'll be doing right now is just to have an overview of the whole series on public data systems and tools and the project that is led by Dev-Afrique and the webinar series. And then we will have a quick overview to the WASH data labs that is run by Dev-Afrique as well. And then we'll move on to the today's presentation with a demo on the information system MajIS, and then we will have a short break after the presentation, about 5 minutes, and then we'll proceed to the question and answer session, and then we'll discuss a bit on the next steps and how the webinar would proceed, and then we will have the closing remarks. So I hope everyone's able to hear me. I see on chat that some of them don't have the sound. It must be probably an individual issue. So yes, I'd like to give a quick introduction about the whole webinar. I just wanted to let you know that the webinar is being recorded and the recording will be shared later through email, and it would also be uploaded online. And then I would please request you to keep all your microphones muted and use the chat feature for any questions that you have. And this will be definitely addressed at the Q&A round. And if there's anything else that you would like to share with the participants and the presenters, feel free to engage and use the chat more effectively. Now, I'd like to give a quick overview on what Dev-Afrique has been doing, especially with relation to implementation of sanitation data systems and strengthening the data in sub-Saharan Africa. And so this was a project that was recently launched at the 𝗪𝗪𝗂 Congress, 𝗪𝗪𝗂 ISE 2025, and the Regional WASH Sector Conference. So the webinar series is a part of a broader public services, data systems, landscaping, learning, and technical assistance project that is implemented by Dev-Afrique and funded by Gates Foundation. This has been a consistent effort to strengthen sanitation data systems across sub-Saharan Africa. As you see, the project evolves around 5 main areas, looking at improving and understanding data systems and strengthening the best practices from non-WASH data systems like other sectors, including health, and improving and understanding non-sewered sanitation, which forms, a big chunk of the service delivery in sub-Saharan Africa, and strengthening this data at municipal level and utility level wherever. And then it also involves supporting and developing the whole maturity index for WASH data systems through ESAWAS, and then creating a proper landscape and developing an inventory of all the WASH tools that exist in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, and then also provide technical support and facilitate cross-learning and insights. I think the whole webinar series is catered towards the cross-learning and sharing of the best practices and the best known data systems. So this webinar series has been continuing the 2nd year now, and it spotlights on WASH data system tools with a couple of examples from Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, the previous one being the municipal information systems from Bangladesh. So what we aim to target here is enhanced learning and shared learning between utilities and municipalities that have the service delivery mandate for sanitation. And also the webinar series targets all WASH stakeholders across Africa and Asia, which would include national governments, regulators, utilities, and municipal authorities. And it will provide an opportunity for all the stakeholders to participate in cross-learning and peer learning. So just a quick recap on the success that we've had with the webinar series. Like I mentioned before, it's led by Dev-Afrique and with partnership with GWOPA and ESAWAS, and it really looks at addressing all the critical challenges that we have in acquiring and managing data, and it spotlights on several tools that have been used by different utilities and municipalities. And so far, we've had 800 participants from 40 countries, and we have showcased 8 tools. And you're about to hear from the 9th tool today. And I would like to also quickly touch upon the WASH data labs. That's an initiative from Dev-Afrique that looks at creating strong data and enhancing this public data in utilities and municipalities, and therefore aiming to have better performance, improve performance, or optimize the performance, and thereby improving the service delivery in sanitation across sub-Saharan Africa. So it's all about co-creating data systems and using that to strengthen the service delivery. I'm just sharing a couple of resources that have been published by Dev-Afrique. You can contact them, or probably Dev-Afrique would be able to link them either on the chat or on the email list with the recording. And we have examples of what are the different tools and the dashboard that has been created in the data lab, which municipalities and utilities can access. There has been 14 sanitation data tools currently in use across different countries, both in sub-Saharan Africa, and this the interactive dashboard kind of gives you a status on, and then explore how these tools are being used and in what context they've been used, to be able to help other utilities to also enhance their data systems by using these tools. And if you want more information, you can directly log on to washdatalabs.com to access the dashboard that I just projected, and also access the reports from Dev-Afrique. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's move to the webinar itself. Like I mentioned before, today we will be looking at the Water Utilities Information System, MajIS, that has been used in Tanzania by EWURA, the regulatory board. And this webinar is to look at understanding this tool and seeing how it's been used to improve decision making and service delivery and the performance management of all the utilities in the wash sector. Once again, I'd like to thank all the partners that made it possible. Of course, Wash Data Labs, backed by Dev-Afrique, with EWURA, Tanzania, ESAWAS, and GWOPA. So today we have our prime presenter, Engineer 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗪𝗁, who is the Senior Engineer for Water and Sanitation at EWURA. So he would be presenting the tool and walking you through it. And we have other presenters who are here to answer any specific questions. We have 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, who's the senior ICT officer, who is also a senior ICT officer at EWURA. And then we have Clara John, who's the water and sanitation engineer, and Alexandra Kisiery, who's the senior financial analyst, who would be answering any expert questions that you have. Now we could just move on to the presentation. And I think if you are looking for more information, then you can scan this QR code so that you have details on EWURA with you. I'll just share it for a couple of seconds in case you want to scan and already take a look at the tool. Right. So I think I would like to invite now Engineer 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 who's the Senior Engineer at the Energy and Water Utilities Regulatory Authority, EWURA. So over to you, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪
senior engineer, water and sanitation at EWURA. EWURA is a regulatory authority for energy and water utility in Tanzania, and it is here regulating the part of energy, means petroleum products and electricity, and for water, it is water and sanitation sector. So my presentation layout covers 3 parts: general overview of MajIS, which have water services and sanitation services. Also, the second part will be the MajIS application on non-sewered sanitation services. And the last one will be the access to MajIS system. This will be, we have to go live to the system. So in Tanzania, the provision of water and sanitation services is done by water utilities, legally known as supply and sanitation authorities. And it is regulated by EWURA, and we have the Ministry of Water. So the operational information from the water utilities are submitted to EWURA through the system called MajIS. Maj means water in English. So it is information system, which is a web-based system to collect, to store, analyze data, and reporting the information from the water supply and sanitation authority. Next. Yeah, the purpose of the MajIS was to to enhance the decision making to the organization. As we know that the system collects a lot of information, a lot of data. So through the analysis and the reporting, it enhances the organization to have the informed decisions. The second purpose was to enhance the planning of the organization. Through the data collected, it enable the organization to optimize the resources and prepare the good strategic plan for the improvement of the services. And the last one, to control. As by centralizing the data and the automatic task in the system, it enhances the good communication among the users and facilitate the tracking of the performance, as well as better improvement in decision making and the overall efficiency. Yeah, the development of MajIS was commenced since 2006, where we have we collect only water information and sewerage data. By that time, the regulator and the sector was focused much on the sewer system. So the information which we collected was water and the sewerage data, and non-sewer data was not collected. And by the time the system was standalone and used by few water utilities, so many utilities were not able to afford the standalone investment by their own. So in 2012, the EWURA introduced the MajIS system as a web-based, whereby all water utilities able to access the system and submit their data through the system and make it easier for benchmarking and review the performance of water utilities. However, the system was not improved to collect information other than water and sewerage system. So still the non-sewerage sanitation system was not collected the information on that. So in 2024, the system was improved, which enabled now the WSSAs to collect the information on non-sewerage sanitation system, on-site sanitation faecal sludge management activities along the sanitation chain, and the information. Other improvements were done in technical part of non-revenue water and the financial part, whereby the system was improved to have capacity to draft, to auto-generate the draft financial statement to enable the water utilities to prepare the financial statement at the end of the year. So all the development of the system is under the regulatory tools. We have the national policy, which is seated on the provision of water and sanitation services. We have the Water and Sanitation Act, which also emphasizes and give the mandate EWURA, water authorities at the minute on the provision of water and sanitation services. But we have the guidelines, performance benchmarking guidelines, on-site and sanitation faecal sludge management guidelines, and the guidance for application of small-scale decentralized wastewater treatment system, which provide the key data which should be collected into the system and the KPIs to be checked in the system. We also have a water and the wastewater quality monitoring guidance, which also provide the guidance on the what parameter should be followed in case of water supply and in case of wastewater monitoring, whether it's from the facilities or waste stabilization point. So the wastewater monitoring should be conducted there. Also, we have the business plan guideline, which provide an input to the system to see the targets at the end of the year, what was the target of the WSSAs and against what they have achieved. Again, we have the guideline for non-revenue water action strategy, which provide the input to the system on how NRW will be estimated or analyzed in the system and the components which associated with the non-revenue water. Yeah, that's one of the features of MajIS. It is accessed through www.ewura.gov.tz. This is the web page. and it is stored in the government data center. It is support multiple platforms, including Linux and Windows, and also it is compatible with various browsers and devices with a different size. It is interoperable with other stakeholder systems, and it provides strong security through encryption, access control, and activity logging. It is scalable and modular architecture, as well as it enables modules to scale independent to manage increasing data and users. So this is a general flow data from the service provider, which is water utility, to the regulator and the Ministry of Water, where at the start, the service provider has to key in the data into the system. Then the data is stored MajIS database, where it is analyzed, compilation is there, and reports are generated from the system. So the service provider will use the report from the system for self-assessment and reporting. And the ministry responsible for water, which is Ministry of Water, will use the reports and the information that has been submitted to the system for monitor the body's implementation, investment, and the development goals. And the regulator use the report to perform monitoring and benchmarking, and to disseminate to the stakeholders, including government and customers. So these are the users of MajIS. Currently, the MajIS is used by the government institutions. These water utilities are government institutions, and we have Ministry of Health, we have Ministry of Education, we have National Bureau of Statistics, who in one or another way they request information from the MajIS, and they are given the access to the system. And we have Ministry of Water and EWURA. The private sector are not yet allowed to access the system up to now. So now the role of MajIS in supporting various business functions. For the case of technical area, the system enhance it gives the opportunity to organization to know the water productions, the issue of service network, including length of network, treatment facilities, leakages. So that is the area which it covers there, and the issue of metering, the issue of sources, the status of the source of the water production. Then we have the service hours, whereby it indicates the availability of service hours in service areas, water and wastewater quality. It provides the information on the compliance and the water and wastewater quality, and the non-revenue water and its component. It gives the opportunity and organization to know the level of non-revenue water and what component constitute a high amount of non-revenue water. Then the system and sewer and sewage sanitation, it provides the organization to know the level, the service level attained in each component of the sanitation chain, as we know from containment along to the up to the reuse or the treatment. All the components have been captured and it indicated there. So in the part of commercial, it alerts the service storage, correction efficiency, and customer service by concerning on the number of complaints which have been resolved compared to those that have been lodged into the system. In the case of finance, it helps the organization to know in monthly basis, in annual basis, the income and expenses have incurred and what they gain. And also the drafty financial statement at the end of the year, it can do that. Then on the part of institutional management, it shows the status of the board, the management, and the staff productivity. And there are other items we see in the system. So the system, as it was built or it was developed, it has internal validation capacity. So it provides alert if there is a significant variation of data. So if there is plus or minus 10%, there is a message which will pop out to show that there is a variation of data, or if it is okay, then the key will key in the data as well. Also, it verifies the completeness of the data in the data entry. Yeah, if the utility filled the data, a monthly data, and the sum of the data which are capacity to be filled, or a sheet in the data entry has been not yet completed, be filled, the system will check and alert the utility for the completeness of data. Yes, it also grant the permission for record locking and unlocking. This is done at for locking, it is done water utility, and to unlock the data, they should request the permit from EWURA. Once they have locked the data, they have to request permit from EWURA to unlock the data if there is an error or there is a data to be corrected. Then the system done to perform arithmetic computation automatically in the system. Next, so these are challenges which we observed during the implementation of MajIS. The issue of integration with the existing system, we are not yet integrating with National Sanitation and Management Information System, which it is a lot of information concerning the containment, and we have unified billing system, which the issue of billing and the collections are available there. So integration is not yet done. Also, we have data quality issues because most of the data, some of the data we received, we need to verify also. So the data quality is an issue even to us. Then we have a lack of access to real-time data along sanitation service chain. For example, we collected in the information the data of latrines, we collected the information of cesspit emptiers, we collected the information of volume. So to get the real-time data, sanitation chain is still not yet, because we depend until the utility accumulate the information, then submit to the system. It is not automated. Then we have lack of public portal access to MajIS and data visualizations. Yeah, as I said, the system is currently accessed by government institution, and the private part are not able to access the system. So we need to improve our system to have access to even the private part can access by seeing what is going on in the sector, whether it is water or it is sanitation. It is there, the information will be available like other things in the way they are doing. So this is the MajIS. Once you are going to log in there live, this will how it will be. Look, we have to enter the username and the password, and I have to log in. Yeah, and this is the first window that you received after you have login. And yeah, so we have a navigation menu at the left-hand side, and we have status key data, where some key information are presented there, including number of connections, non-revenue water collection, expenses. Yeah, and we have entry form there. Once the utility click there, it allows the utility to submit the data for the new month. And we have the report history, which indicate the history of the report that has been submitted and logged by the utility. But also to indicate whether it is logged or not logged, the date the report was submitted and the report was created. So this is the modules of how the MajIS is. There are about 8. We have general, we have technical, we have commercial, we have non-level water, we have personnel, we have financial, regulatory level, and reports. So on the general part, we have a contact, which present the general information of the authority, address, email address, phone, etc. We'll see in the system. Then we have the information on the management. We have the information on the board. We have the information of ongoing projects, which are at that time, during the reporting time, were the ongoing project. And then we have management tools. There are some tools which WSSAs are required to have prepared, including customer service charter, business plan, operating procedures, faecal agent. So this is the part where it collects those information. And technical, we have the production and distribution. As I said here, that all of the information concerning the production, network services, and storage capacity are there. And we have service hours, we have water quality, and we have part of sanitation, which is collect information. For sewered sanitation, we have length of network, and for non-sewered sanitation, we have issue of containment technologies, accessibility emptiers, issue of transport, issue of treatment. Yeah, we will see in deep when we are in the system. Then on the third module, which is commercial, we have general part, which present population, which is the area, service, household size, and we have the tariff structure. We have information concerning the connection, that is for water, and we have the billing, water billing, and the water collections, and we have sanitation services, which also present the number of connection of sanitation, especially on sewer connection, and OSS services, including OSS billing and collections of OSS and fecal sludge management. Then the third module is non-revenue water. This is the, as I said, this was the one of the improvement which did in the system. The utility will be able to assess itself in the monthly basis as well as in the annual basis to see the level of non-revenue water and its component, which component contribute high non-revenue water based on your water balance. Yeah, for the case of personnel, it have the issue of staff and the staff details. So here it indicates even the level of staff productivity. So it enables us as a regulator to see the productivity of staff within the organization, and the details we'll see in the system. Yeah, on the part of financial module, the system has detailed the issue of income and operation and maintenance expenses. Also the financial expenses at the organization and the depreciation. But the issue of depreciation is done in annual basis, not in a monthly basis. So now how will the system help us to do the performance, to review the performance of the WSSAs? As I said, we use the guideline, performance benchmarking guideline, which provide the key indicators to assess the performance of the water utilities. But also we have to assess compliance of the utilities to regulatory requirements. So there are key indicators for protection of the user interest, and we have the key indicators for sustainability of the operator. We have the key indicators for environmental sustainability, which you check the quality of the effluent from the wastewater, COD and the BODs. But also we look for the compliance of regulatory requirement, which is section of plans, and issue of availability of fecal sludge management treatment facilities, SOP of fecal management, and the submission of reports. So now the second part, as I said, it was on the non-sewered sanitation. How non-sewered sanitation has been captured into the system. As we know, the sanitation start from the containment, go through emptying, transport, treatment, and reuse. So this, our system also capture in the level is detailed in the sanitation chain. Yeah, in the general part, our system requires the utility to declare the availability of the tools, like customer service charter, which required self-managed sanitation. There is joint to town level plan. There is standard operating procedures for fecal sludge management. There is issue of MOU between water authority and the local government authorities on provision of sanitation services, and a trade waste agreement between the utility and the service providers. On the part of technical, we have sewered and non-sewered. Then non-sewered, we have the issue of containment technology, whereby we need to know the household with and without latrines, but also we need to know the number of households with latrines which have been improved and emptyable, and those which have septic tanks. And on the component of transportation, we need to know the number of septic emptier truck, and the volume of each truck, and the number of trucks which are owned by local government authorities, owned by water utilities, owned by LOAs, and private sector, which are who own the septic emptiers. Then we need to know even the volume. The system registered the volume, so I have to see the level of performance at this component. But also it records the issue of number of latrine that has been emptied, and fecal sludge treatment, if it is available or not available, then utility has to present there the volume of the sludge that had been treated and that has been not yet treated, and the quality of the effluent BOD compliance and COD compliance. The system put that record into MajIS, into database. Yeah, on the commercial part, special deal with dealing with the complaints that has been lodged. Maybe it was fee paid or effective service, improved disposal of sludge, delay of services, but also there is issue of billing on emptying of transportation of fecal sludge, charges of the disposal, and we have the issue of collection. All collection that's been collected from OSS, FSM services to be recorded into the system. So in the part of financial, as we said, all income generated by sanitation, especially on-site sanitation fecal sludge, are to be considered here in the sanitation billing, and even the expenses which has been incurred by the utility to provide that service has to be recorded in the system in a monthly basis. Yeah, that was my last slide. Thank you for listening, and now we can access the MajIS.
Thanks a lot, 𝗪𝗏. I think you have provided a very good insight on how the whole system works, with a very detailed walkthrough and also valuable insights on how MajIS is actually monitoring, tracking data and standardizing the data for on-site sanitation and fecal sludge management nationwide. I'm sure the participants have a lot of questions for you and your team. So what we can do now is I've just shared the screen where and the login to MajIS. And if anyone is willing to play around or see how it works, I think they will not have an access into the software, am I right? But they would be able to see some information on it. I think in the interest of time, we'll just proceed for a short break, and then you'd be able to share screen when the participants have questions. So we'll just break for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then maybe by then you can have the MajIS tool ready and shareable. And if the participants, if you have any questions, please put them on the chat, and they'll be answered after the 5-minute break. All right, everyone, I hope you had a couple of minutes to stretch and absorb all of the information provided by 𝗪𝗏 on the tool. Now we'll proceed to the Q&A session. And I will hand over to my colleague Kennedy, who would ask the questions. 𝗪𝗏, are you with us, with your team?
I'm hearing you.
Yes, great. So let's proceed to the Q&A. My colleague Kennedy will be Yes, you're audible, Kennedy.
Oh, thank you so much, Shabana, and thanks, colleagues, for the really nice presentation. My name is Kennedy Kamau. I work with GWOPA, with Shabana in the same team, and good to be here with you. So there's a few questions on the chat, and as Laura was saying, please use the Q&A tab. At least we mark the questions that have been addressed by the panelists. So one question is from Philip, who wants to know if the tools are shareable, if the regulatory tools are shareable with everyone. 𝗪𝗏 has two questions. One is on how frequently is the data collected from the tool? And secondly, do the utilities submit data for individual households or the total for their service area. Theophil or your team members can respond to. If those questions are not clear, I can repeat them.
The last question, I didn't hear you well. The last question.
So the last question was, do utilities submit data for individual households or the total for their service area? That was a question from Gezahen.
Okay. Can I respond?
Please do.
Yeah. The first question it was about if the tools can be shared.
Yeah, that's true.
These regulatory tools.
The regulatory tools can be shareable. Yeah.
They are shareable. You can share it, and they are available on the website.
Okay, probably how do you get access?
Through it is www.ewura.go.tz where we can get the tool. And but it is open. They are not closed tool. It is open to all users.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. The second one, the third was the data which are collected for individual household or the whole service area, which they submit. Yeah. They set up the system it collected for the whole service area, not individual. So the utility has to accumulate the information. Then at the end of the month, have to submit the information to EWURA. Although some of the information is difficult to get in a monthly basis, like issue of latrines, number of 𝗧𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀, as I said here, that there are many key actors in the ground. We don't have a real-time system to get the information at the right time. So we expect until at the end of the quarter or at the end of the year to get those information concerning the latrines and the issue of which operated in the service areas. Yeah. The second question, it's okay?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The second question was how the data is perfect.
How frequently is the data collected? The frequency of data collection.
The data are collected in monthly basis. But for water data, we collect monthly basis, and for fuel debits, we collect monthly basis, and for non-HIWA, some of the information we collect in monthly basis, like as I said, like all information in the treatment plant, because many of the treatment facilities are on the utilities, so the data are available there. But the issue of number of latrines which are emptyable and those which are not emptyable, number of latrines which are or households which do not have latrines, these information like that are available to other sector like the Ministry of Health. So themselves they collect in a quarterly basis. So there is the issue of harmonization of the system and the collection of the information between the two organizations as a regulator, water utilities, and the Ministry of Water and the Ministry of Health concerning the connected sanitation.
Yeah, thank you. I think that also answers the question from Andrew, who wanted to know if there's a roadmap for integrating this data with other existing systems. So I think we've articulated that with the integration with the Ministry of Health and other line ministries within the government. Unless you want to add to any other government agencies using the data and how to integrate that.
Let me welcome my colleague, Mr. 𝗪𝗶𝗀𝗶. Mr. 𝗪𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗶.
And as it does
Hello?
that, Theophil, probably going to ask another question from Khurshid, who wants to know what are the measures taken or plans to eradicate cholera outbreaks in the area. I think the suggestion they have also an innovative solution that probably can help integrate with your system to really add more value and probably more functionality to it. They're calling it the 𝗪𝗵𝘁𝗂𝗪 innovation. That's more or less a comment But the question is, are there any measures being taken to eradicate cholera outbreaks and diarrhea within the country? Or is the system probably trying to track such elements?
The cholera outbreak, for case of our system, we can focus on the issue of the treatment of wastewater and the fecal sludge, which the system allow to monitor the quality of the effluent that has been discharged to the environment. But more information on measures and strategies to eradicate cholera, it is based on mental health.
Great, thank you so much. I'm not sure if your colleague has been able to join so they can answer the other question on integrating MajIS system data with other line ministries systems and news. This is a follow-up question from Shabana.
I can respond shortly on that.
Hello.
Okay. Please answer the same question from Shabana on how they verify the data. Is there a way of verifying the data being entered into the system and validating that data?
Yes. The system itself, if there is a major variation, it pop out the alert that there's a major variation of the data, but also we conduct the site visit of these utilities. So once this information has been submitted, so the regulator is easy, what he view the report easier to know because he's familiar with the service area. So it's easier to know whether the information is okay or not for those key informations. And if there is not, if the information is incorrect, then the utility has to correct the information by requesting to unlock the information. The report is unlocked and they correct the information and they resubmit it again to the regulator. So that is the mode of validation from the system, and we do also physical inspection to the utility.
Great, thank you. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, to add on what my colleague has said, with regard to roadmap of integration with other stakeholders' systems, we have initiated the communication with some of the stakeholders, including WSSAs, main billing system, in order to establish a list of data set that can be accessed through the API. And now we are in the process of finalizing that process and then kickstart the integration process. And then we have also contacted with the Ministry of Health to see if we can access the information that they have in their own system so that these two systems can communicate through integration. That is on the part of integration roadmap. That once we finalize the documentation, then the integration will start. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Theophile and your colleagues. I don't see any other questions. Sorry, I think there's one more question under Q&A. Let me have a look at it. There's a question from Lungi, who wants to know, what are the challenges that water utilities have had with regards to using the system, especially on on-site sanitation and fecal sludge management? How has EWURA addressed these challenges? Is that clear, Theophile, with your team? Or should I repeat the question? I think it's more or less on the challenges.
It is clear.
Yeah, okay, great. Please go ahead.
As I said, the first challenge which was observed in the last years, it was the utility were failed to upload their data into the system concerning the on-site sanitation services, because they have fecal sludge ponds and they have cesspit emptiers, and they do such they provide such services in their service areas, but the system were not allowed them to key in their data. So once we improved the system during the last year, now the information are captured in. concerning the volumes of the sludge they have collected and they have treated, concerning the number of cesspit MTABs available within the service areas, and the latrines which are available within the service areas. So currently the challenge which they faced them is to get the real-time data on the number of latrines, because the number of latrines and the type of the latrines, those information are more available to the Ministry of Health. That's why we put an effort now to integrate this information, because the community themselves or the society themselves, there is information which is collected from the society to the Ministry of Health concerning the latrines and the capture technology which is used there. So once we integrate this system, a lot of information will be captured automatically from the system, because it is available there within the service areas, but it's a matter of integration. So this, I can see now, it's a big challenge for them, because we request them to submit, and sometimes they fail to submit because the Ministry of Health, they submit it in a quarterly basis, while us, we request it in a monthly basis. So you can see the timing of the submission of the report on the item of containment technology towards transportation. Yes.
Thank you so much. Probably just a follow-up question from my end. Is the system able to generate data along the SDG 6, especially 6.1 and 6.2 targets? Are they feeding it into these national plans for the government?
Pardon, please.
I'm just asking: is the system able to generate data around the SDG 6, especially target 6.1 and 6.2, that can feed into overall government reporting?
Yeah. Yes. Because SDG 1 and SDG 2, it say sanitation, safe sanitation for all, and water service for all. All of the information which are captured in the system, they focus to address those requirements to meet the goals of Sustainable Development Goals 6, 1 and 2.
Yes,
Thank you so much. Yeah. Sorry, please go ahead.
Yes, on addition for what Engineer Theophil has said, the system can generate the coverage on the both services that are provided by the utilities, both coverage in water supply and sanitation services. So as a country, we can assess ourselves, our achievement towards the SDG goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much. But I'm not sure we have so much time, but there's one more question.
Please go ahead, Kennedy.
Yeah, please, from SAD, who wants to know, is it possible to include future improvement plans for water and sanitary systems in the system? Plans like expansion, replacement, and renovation of assets? Over to you, Theophil, and your team.
You can answer the question.
Okay, the question is it possible to include... Sorry, okay, I'll go again.
Yes,
Is it possible to include... Okay, please go ahead and answer.
So,
anyway, let me respond.
okay.
Assisting 𝗪𝗵𝘁𝗀. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, but there's a bit of an echo, so if you probably mute one mic.
Okay, let me respond on that. First, we have also responded on those questions. Posted on the question portal chat. But with regard to improvement plan for water and sanitation system in the MajIS, like expansion, replacement, renovation of assets, yes, the system has a room to include, because actually it tracks also the record from where how do we move from time to time, year to year, quarter to quarter, but also the plan. Where do we plan? So to respond to that is yes, the MajIS system has also accommodated the plans like expansion, replacement, renovation of assets, so that it's to see, do we move in the right track to achieve what we plan? Thank you.
Sorry, I was
Sorry,
muted. Sorry.
Kennedy,
Thank you
you're
so
on
much.
mute.
Yeah, I was on mute. Thank you so much, Tim, for really facilitating good response to questions. I don't see any other questions within the chat or the Q&A tab. And I'll hand over back to Shobana.
Thanks a lot, Kennedy. We had a couple of insightful questions. Most of them, I also had the same questions and they were somehow answered. Nice to see that the participants think alike. So I'll hand over again to Theophil to do a live demo. Sorry, this wasn't possible because of some technical glitch before the break. But over to you and your team, Theophil. Are you able to give the live demonstration now?
Yes.
I see that you've shared your screen already. It's currently projecting the presentation. Okay, yes. We're able to see the login page of the MajIS system. So over to you, Theophil.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can see the screen at Theophil. Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Yeah, this is how the system will look like. And as I said, there is a navigation menu at the left side, and we have the guide, which there is information of how the formula which were used in the system, and we have the report, which allow the WSSAs to access direct to the report. We have key indicators. We have report based on progressive indicators. We have comparison reports. We have reports for multi-provider, single indicator. We see them when we reach to the report module. We have annual MajIS and the financial statement. And if the WSSA wants to access the previous data, you will access through this link. Then we have performance report, but it is under crafting. We are in the process of auto-generate our report, performance report from the system. So it is under crafting yet. Then this is the operations where it presents all of the modules where WSSA has to work on them: general, technical, commercial, personnel, and financial. And this is management, which allow to create user, to create the utility, and to grant the permission to the user, and to grant the permission to the user. And this is the key data, as you see, and this is the form where if you want to key in the new data, has to click here. And this is the summary of the report that has been submitted by the WSSA. If it is not yet submitted, or not yet locked, it is indicated here, not locked, or not yet created, it will be blank. And if it has been locked, then you will see the message here, it is locked, and it was locked on 14th of April. So these are lock, these are sign for lock, and this is the sign for request to unlock the information. Once he click here, it will give the message that the information is not yet submitted. So it is difficult for WSSA, for the utility to submit if there is one of the data has not been submitted in the system. So here are those modules for commercial, for personnel, for financial, even NRW. So once the all status is submitted, then it is easier for it allows the WSSA to submit the report to the regulator. And here is a message. It says locked, disabled, because there is some records which have not been submitted. I think you see it. Yeah. Then inside the MajIS now, how it is look like. Yeah, this is the first module, which we said there is a contact. So this is the place where all of the information concerning the WSSA will be seen here, and issue of license number, the class it is classified, and the issue that it was issued, the license, and the expiring date. It is there, and at the bottom, it allows the WSSA to save, to copy previous if the information are the same, but also there is a button for save. If the data is not yet completed, it can save the data, and later on, it can proceed with filling the data. Then there is a button for print and a download and a submit. So here you see the grayish part because I'm logging as a regulator, so I can't edit any information there. Then for the issue of management, this is the management. It is in this form where the WSSA has to select the position and the name of the person or the managing director, the information about the year of birth, appointment date, gender, qualification, position, and experience. Yeah, and this is the button for the board. So it allows the WSSA to key in the availability of board chairman, secretary of the board, and the members of the board. If there is more than one member, then there is a button that allows the WSSA to add the other member here at the bottom. Then for case of ongoing project, it collects all the necessary information of the project, including project name, project description, and completion date, and physical progress. And at the bottom here, it will list the number of projects that are ongoing within the water utility service area. Yeah. Then this is the list of management tools that required the water utility to have. We have the business plan, we have the strategic plan, we have the incident management plan, we have credit policy, and the budget has to upload those information, performance contract with the Ministry of Water, wastewater and wastewater monitoring program, and customer service charter, yeah, trade waste agreement, water meter policy, NRW reduction strategy, water safety plan, performance contract with treasury register. Those are selected documents that WSSA should have. On the technical module, then we have the first bar, which required the WSSA to register all sources which are available within the service area and are used for production of water. So if it is one, he has to fill this line, and if there is more than one, the WSSA has to add all sources that it has in the service area. And these are the information which auto-generated from the information which has been filled here, including the status of meter and the condition and the permit to abstract the water from the sources. Yes, and there is the issue of total water productions and the amount of water that has been distributed into the system and the length of network, but also issue of leakage, leaks repair that has been done within the reporting period, and the issue of energy consumption. All the information are collected there. And concern on the service hours. Service hours, this is the window that allows the WSS to key in a zone-wise the information concerning the availability of water service. Then the system will calculate the overall service hours within the service area. So this will present the overall daily service hours and the percentage of connection with 24 hours of service and the total number of connection. Yes, and we have the module for water quality. This is basically based on the water quality parameters to assess the compliance on the parameters of water quality, including E. coli, turbidity, pH, and the residual chlorine, and the other parameters like nitrate, chlorides, total solids, etc. But also at the bottom, we need to know the quantity of the chemical that has been used for treatment. So there are different kinds of chemical which are used in the treatment of water. the production, so they have to mention, and if there is any comment, they have to write here down if there is any comment or challenge or something to improve, or any variation that seems it has to be noted, then the utility has to note there. And if this is the bar which present allow the utility to compare the data. This is for the current data, and this is allowed to compare the previous data. So here we can select any data from previous month. Maybe it can be January, and compare the data. Yeah. So you see how the progress is there's a certain a month which you want to compare at instant when he is filling the data. On the part of sanitation, we have sewered service, which I have already mentioned that we have length of sewer network, and the new sewer network, the system will add automatically to get the total length. So the utility which I go through here, it is not have a sewer line. And we have the number of length of pipe kilometers of sewer pipeline which has been rehabilitated. So all of those technical information has to be collected in this section. But for non-sewered sanitation, we have the issue of type of on-site sanitation facility available in the service area. So here he has to fill what kind of sanitation facility available there. And on the containment technology, as I said, we see the number of households with and without pit latrines, and those which have pit latrines, ventilated pit latrines, and a septic tank. So these information are collected from the health officers within their service areas. They have a certain kind of system of collecting from the ward level. So these information are collected from there in a quarterly basis. And we have faecal sludge transportation. Here we collect all information concerning cesspit, number of cesspit emptiers truck owned by LGAs, means local government authority, owned by WSSAs, means water utility, and those which are owned by private operators. But also it records the number of private under the trade waste agreement given by the WSSA, because one of the requirements which we give the water utility is to enter a trade waste agreement with those private operators within their service areas to ensure safely managed sanitation. Then emptying of containment, we collect the information like the number of latrines in the service areas, number of emptiable latrines, volume of fecal sludge collected from the septic tank, from the latrines, from the improved latrines, and the volume of fecal sludge dislodged manually. So we saw that in our environment there are some sludge are dislodged manually, other are motorized dislodged. So all information we are collecting here. And in case of fecal sludge treatment, we check the availability of sludge treatment facility. So if it is in operation, or it is in design, or it is under construction, so here we get the status. Then the type of fecal sludge, which sludge is there, then they have to mention whether it is fecal sludge treatment facility or what kind of type of facility they are operating within their service area. Then the volume of sludge that have been received, we collect those information in a monthly basis, and number of safe disposal in the service area, means of April, total volume of fecal sludge expected to be emptied. So this is another area where the water utility has to do an exercise to ensure that they know what is the fecal sludge which they expect to empty within a reporting period. So that is this. The guideline has explained how to do. The number of samples of treated sludge that comply with quality standard, the number of treated sludge samples that tested. So we check even the compliance of the treated sludge and the volume of fecal sludge that has been treated and the total sewage treated. Even the capacity of the treatment facility per day, those information has to be submitted by the water utilities vis-a-vis the required capacity of the fecal sludge facility, because it was found that some water utilities who have this treatment facility, treatment plant, it is underperformed because the demand is high and the generation of fecal sludge is high, but the treatment plant capacity is very low or not sufficient to meet the demand. Then for the issue of wastewater quality, we check the BOD and the COD of the effluent, and we check the compliance of the total solids, suspended solids. And if there is any comment, the utility has to fill here. Then for the commercial part, the first general part, we collect the information for population, average per capita consumptions, population living in area with the network, population living in area with the network as a percentage, but also information on metering, frequency number of reading the meter to the customers, what are the number of meter that has been added in the stock, number of installed water meter verified by the certified agents. You know, there is a replacement of water meter in the ground, so we need all water meter that has been replaced has to be verified by the weight and measure agents who is responsible to satisfy. Then we have issue of availability of water meter database. Then for issue of customer service, there is the issue of complaint on meter reading, delay on connection, trespass, billing, health and safety environment, rate and charges, water quality, poor customer service, disconnections, lack of water, damage of property, low water pressure. And we have complaint on sewerage issues. We have the complaint on fecal sludge, emptying services. It may be fee paid or effectiveness of the service or improper disposal of the sludge or delay of service. Then we have complaint on other issues. They can report issues not like that one, but they can be other issues have to report, but they are reported in numbers, number of complaint received and the number of complaint resolved. So the system will calculate the number of complaint that has been resolved. But also we need to know the number of complaint that has been resolved within 5 days, because it's the set of quality of standard that all water utility has to comply. Then we have other information like billing cycle, illegal connections, availability. All those information are collected here at the general. Then we have the tariff structure, the tariff which is used by the WSSA to bill the water services and the sanitation services. So we have the for water and we have for sanitation tariff, for sewerage, and we need to know the tariff for also sewer. Then we have the water connection, as I said, all categories, including domestic. We have institution connection, we have commercial category, we have industrial connection, we have other connections. All these connections and the kiosk connections are to be collected, this information, to get the total number of connections available in the service area and to determine the coverage of the provision of service within the service area. So even the disconnection, the system records that information. And if there is any comment, the utility has to write it here. So this is the billing. Say data is required. Yeah. This is the billing details. We see on the domestic billing, we have billing amount, This is for volume, the amount which has been billed, a volume. But at the bottom, it needs the amount which is in T shillings, Tanzania shillings, the price which we have billed. So we have for domestic, institution, we have for industrial, all categories of connection that we have categorized in the system. We need to know how much it was billed there. Yeah, and the other connections. So at the end, the system will sum up the values to get the total water service billing. Yeah, and we have the collection, the same as the billing, but we have to know the collection from the institutional connection, domestic. All categories have to know the connection so that we can determine the collection efficiency. Collection efficiency of the water utility, and the total water service collection. The system will sum up and give the information. Concerning with sanitation services, we have the connection, domestic connection on the part of sewer services. We have industrial connections. We have other sewer, and we have commercial connections and the institution, as we categorized our connections, and the other sewer connections. So here it helps us to know the coverage of the sanitation, the coverage of the sewer desanitation service in the water utility service areas. So this is the population directly served in percentage. Then we have the issue of billing. We have the issue of billing from all category of connections, and we have OSS FSM billing. So we need to know the billed value for fecal sludge and transportation of sludge, for emptying and transportation of fecal sludge, the charge of disposal of sewage at the treatment plant, and the total FSM billing is there. And if there is other sanitation billing like unblocking of sewer or newer sewer connections, and other billing has to be detailed here. And the utility, once it says there is other billing, has to mention which billing was there. Then total sanitation service billing we get here. Then for sewerage collection, it's the same like the billing, but it is collection now to all categories, all those 4 categories: domestic, institution, commercial, industrial, and the other. Then we get total sewerage collection, and we get the collection from the OSS FSM services concerning collection generated by emptying and the transportation of fecal sludge, collection generated by disposal at the waste treatment facility, and the collection from sanitation levy, and total collection of OSS. You need to know that. So collection from other sanitation service are detailed here. So the utility has to report if they exist in their service area. Yeah. Then we have the next module of non-revenue water. You see it is a blank, but because the module is not yet filled, there is no data. But once I show the one utility which has been filled, it will show all the chart as I presented in the PowerPoint. Yeah, but it basically based on utility to assess on the non-revenue water by looking at the meter inaccuracy and billed and metered consumptions, even those losses concerning with the tank drop, physical losses, and apparently. But he measure here all those assumptions he made to cap during the operation that result into the non-revenue water has to be filled here. And here are the indicators of non-revenue water. The system calculates the non-revenue water based on water produced, expressed as a real water loss per connection per day, apparent water losses per connection per day, real water losses per length of the water main in meter cubic per day, and apparent water losses per length of water main. But in a monthly basis, the system allows the WSSAs to, these other information are coming direct based on the information have been submitted. So this form here, the WSSAs do not key in any value. The value are already in the system, so the system will pick up and show up the non-revenue water and what item contribute high non-revenue water in his organization. Yeah. Then we have the annual summary and we have the annual MajIS field summary, which is the same as what I've presented here. Then we have the staff composition. Staff composition, we have the management. We need to know the number of male, the number of female supervisors, all the levels of management in the WSSA has to be in here, the number of staff. So once we get the total number of staff, we have to check the number of staff per 1,000 connection to see the level of staff productivity within the organization. Yeah, it's because it is a key performance indicator. And staff employment, we need to know number of staff who are permanently employed, who are temporary or contract or daily paid. Yeah, all those information concerning the staff we need to know, and the staff turnover percentage wise we need to know. Yes, and concerning the staff detail, we need to know the qualifications of the available staff at the water utility. Who have a degree or master's and PhD, we need to know the numbers. Diploma and formal or artisans, we need to know the numbers. And we need to know the number of training that is ongoing and the external training that has been conducted. In-house training, then total training that has been done, we need to know. And the range of the salary scale that they are paid within the organization. Number of staff who are paid within more than 3 million Tanzania shillings, we need to know. And in between, like it has been shown here. Yeah. Concerning the finance, at the income,
Sanjawa,
we collect the information
I'm sorry
of
to
operating
interrupt.
income and the other income.
Sanjawa, can you hear me?
Billing of water sales and the total sanitation
feel?
billings and the total other operating income we collect here. And other operating income like disposal income, exchange rate, all those information concerning the financial issues are collected to this model. We have categorized in water production the kind of expenses which has been incurred by the water utility, laboratory issues, water distribution, sanitation expenses, if it is sewage treated, electricity for sewage and the fecal sludge, laboratory, new sewer connection, cesspit emptying, on-site sanitation activities, other sanitation expenses. If there is other sanitation expenses, the utility has to provide a clarification. And then total sanitation expenses, we get it here. Then we need to know maintenance and repair expenses. We need to know personal expenses. We need to know administrative expenses. All those expenses related to administrative are to be recorded here. Business promotion expenses, event and donation expenses. Then we know all O&M expenses that had been incurred by the utility during the reporting period. Then this represent the financial expenses like investment on term loans, interest on term loans. So this is the depreciation. This is the depreciation which is active at the end of the financial year in June. Then the sheet will be active and they show all the assets to record the depreciation expenses. Yeah. So we have the regulatory levy. This is present what the levy which the water utility has to remit to the regulator. So it is clear. And the final module we have, which is a report. Report we have, there is those for key performance indicators. There are so many indicators here. All those key performance indicators and other key performance indicators. Apart from those selected, you see staff per 1,000 connection, you see service coverage, compliance to water quality service. And we have report all data, not only key performance indicators, but even the data or any data have been submitted in the system. You can trace the trend either in a monthly basis or in the annual basis. And we have the report for, this is the comparison report, but one indicator for multi-provider service providers. So you can select the number of utility which you want to compare the performance, or to get the performance on a single indicator. Then you can generate here the report. So report you can generate and export it in Excel format or PDF. Then we have the comparison. This is the kind of reports you can export, and the system can allow you, if you want to compare a lot of indicators and many utilities, it can also give you a chance to compare. But this is the report submission. Here we see the status of the submission of reports. Each utilities, once I export the report, I know which utility submitted which report and which months the utility has not submitted the report. And this one is the annual MajIS report. So all the information which we use to prepare the annual performance review report, we extracted now from here, because this is automated from the system. So the utility has to check the correctness of the figure, and if the figure is not correct, the utility has to correct to the specific month, and so that the system will have a correct, the report, annual MajIS will have a correct report. So there is a lot of indicators here. Yes, we have issue of volume, we have issue of length of network, we have issue of water quality, we have issue of storage capacity, we have issue of compliance of COD and BOD concerning the wastewater, we have issue of collection efficiency, we have issue of non-revenue water, and we collect information concerning financial performance. A lot of information we collected here: staff productivity, compliance with the regulatory requirements. So there are so many information we request here. We have issue of water quality monitoring, but also we have business plan target. We need to see the target of the WSSA, the water utility, vis-a-vis performance, and we benchmarking them. We have sanitation services, whereby all the information which they submitted throughout the year accumulated here and presented in this sheet in 3 consecutive years, the current year and the 2 previous year, to see the progress. And this shows the confidence level of the data, that has been submitted. Then measurement measured at the production, then availability of treatment facilities, availability of billing system. So all information that we used to generate the annual review performance report for water utilities are generated now from here. Then we have the financial statement, whereby the system initially auto-generated the draft financial statement of financial performance. Then we have statement financial position. Then we have the statement of cash flow, which it used the direct method. So there are some information which have already presented in the system. The system picked direct to the page, and some information has to be keyed in by the water utility. So the water utility has to key in to get the draft financial statement and submit for audit. That is in short how the system operate and the working, and what we expect in future. It is to auto-generate the performance report, because the input we have in the system, then we are focusing to auto-generate and to improve our system, because I have mentioned the challenges which we're facing. We need also to improve to curb those challenges. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Theophil. I think you've concluded at the right time. I think we've had a very clear understanding of how the whole system tool works. Thanks for running it through very patiently. We did have a couple of questions asked during your demo, so I would kindly ask your colleagues to answer them on the chat on the tariff structures for sewered and non-sewered sanitation, and there was one question on static and dynamic parameters that are reported. So please have a look at the chat. Kindly request the team EWURA to look at the chat and answer the last two questions. In the interest of time, we'll just proceed towards informing all the participants on what are the next steps. So I think we've had a great session today, and we will definitely be sharing all the resources, the presentation, and more information on the EWURA tool through email. The communications team from Dev-Afrique would be taking care of it. And please keep an eye out on invitations to engage more on the WASH Data Lab and new tools and the new webinars that will take place in the following months. And then please do follow Dev-Afrique, GWOPA and ESAWAS on all social media platforms. We have constant updates on new trainings, webinars related to utilities and service delivery. And I think we would really like to invite you for all the future webinars, because I think participants have been the most important part of this webinar series, and we've had such rich engagement from all of you, and we see the keen engagement and interest in strengthening data systems for better service delivery. And I would like to give a big thank you to all of the speakers today, the team EWURA, for sharing their insights, and all the organizers from Dev-Afrique Development Advisors, from ESAWAS, and my colleagues at GWOPA. I think we've posted the link to our online communities, ESAWAS Engage and the GWOPA COP Communities of Practice. Please do join these communities as individual members, and you're welcome to register as a GWOPA institutional member as well, as we facilitate peer learning partnerships between water and sanitation utilities. We will also have a call soon for partnerships under the EWURA program. This is the second phase, and we'll be facilitating about 30 partnerships between utilities, and you're welcome to apply. And stay tuned on our social media for updates. And if you have any other questions, please contact Dev-Afrique on the follow-up of the webinar, and we hope to see you in the next webinar once again the following month. Thank you everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, and we have to respond.